Hello. This is a reading of the book Vagrian, Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins. Chapter 2, Meeting the Entity Group. And now for introductions. We have been called Vagrian through our own proposal of the word. It is not our name any more than your name is yours. Remember that you did not choose your name. It was given to you by your parents for the convenience and ability to call you something other than infant, baby, or child. This was the only way they could separate you in the nursery from other newborns in your plexiglass cages. It is a human act to give a name. It is the first act of separation imposed upon you. We are nameless, and yet we understand your habit and need for this action. And so we suggest Vagrian symbolically in a visualization of letters to your narrator, our channel, as she held a specific desire to be led to a new understanding that words spoken could not have led her to. We will allow her to tell you the story herself. Before I share the story behind the name Vagrian, I'll back up a little bit to give you some context on how all of this began. It was my 40th birthday. I was walking through my kitchen, tidying up some dishes, when I heard the familiar knock on my consciousness, almost an invitation to channel. I put heard in quotes here because it's not the kind of hearing that is done with the ears or any part of the physical body. I've never been able to explain it, but this kind of hearing isn't processed by the nervous system at all. It is more of a knowing of hearing. I had only become aware of channeling a few years earlier when I stumbled upon some Abraham Hicks quotes online and then looked them up on YouTube. I watched as Esther Hicks spoke on stage in the plural tense. I assumed that the reason was that she was speaking on behalf of a company or a group. The message resonated, and so I didn't think much of it and continued to listen. When I finally got the book Ask and It Is Given, I was puzzled and a little put off by the explanation at the beginning of the book about her channeling a non-physical entity group and how she had come to do so. A few months afterwards, during my morning meditations, I started to feel a pressure on both sides of my head, like large hands were cupped over my ears. It wasn't an unpleasant feeling, just unusual. And I realized that if I relaxed into it, my head would start moving on its own. It was as if this sensation was moving it. Curious, I continued the meditation and tried not to focus on what was happening, but on the observer, until I observed that my head was being moved into unusual and exaggerated positions on my neck. It scared the hell out of me. I could resist it and stop myself from moving, but then was not able to go as deep into meditation. Since it began happening every time I meditated, I eventually gave up meditation altogether, frightened by what was happening. I was either going crazy or something external to me was moving my head. I was no stranger to the paranormal, esoteric, or metaphysical, but we certainly weren't friends. As a child, I saw ghosts, heard voices, had a collection of imaginary friends who weren't so imaginary, and had been contacted visiting with aliens on many occasions. It may seem like a hefty sentence to just throw out there, and I can say it now candidly, but I didn't acknowledge any of this openly at the time, even to myself. All of the odd happenings, hauntings, and encounters with dead relatives and friends had been filed in my psyche under imagination, and I rarely, if ever, opened up and talked about them. These new experiences of my head moving during meditation went in that same cabinet, and I locked it away with a key. Sometime later, when I slowly returned to meditation and the unusual side effects recommenced, I was more prepared and accepting of the unseen and the unknown. This time, whenever my head would start moving while meditating, I would either allow the movements to happen or silently address the energy moving me and ask it to please not interfere. This would stop the moving immediately. I developed a relationship with this energy, curious about what it wanted and where it was leading, but disinterested in actually following it down that path. The energy or entity was always there as a presence, but I didn't want to invite it into my reality and could send it off with a simple no. There were a few times I sat and typed away for hours at the keyboard with the same energy guiding me, but I was full of so much insecurity and doubt. I felt unready. I felt unworthy. I decided to focus on studying self-realization and enlightenment while carrying on normally with my everyday life and role as a young mother. I studied everything I could find on the topic, found amazing teachers, and had several deep awakening experiences that have left me forever changed. The internet was a wonderful place to meet like-minded people, and even though there still weren't too many with whom I would talk about my experiences, those who I felt comfortable sharing with at least believed I wasn't going crazy. I got to meet some of them in person and develop friendships for the first time with people who I didn't feel were judging this aspect of me. This allowed me to begin to stop judging myself. It took years of searching within to understand that all of the paranormal and esoteric experiences I had were not just an act of imagination. I really did have extrasensory gifts. So there, I found myself in the kitchen with this invitation to channel, not even knowing if I could or if I actually wanted to. All I knew is that I was turning 40 that day, and I'd spent 40 years running away from a big part of me. I was more than tired. I was exhausted. I was having to say no to this energy more and more frequently. I couldn't hold up the fort, and I couldn't remember why I had to. I put down the dish, downloaded a voice recording app on my phone, lay on my bed, and went into meditation for the first time ever with the intention of a yes instead of a no. What follows is the transcript from that very first verbal contact. We are available. You already know everything you need to know. You're already able to speak for us. We are present. We cannot speak to all of you because all of you will not hear. We use those of you informed to speak for us so that those who would not hear directly can choose to misinterpret. The term alienation is perfect. There is no need to fear, for even the alienation that you face as a bridge or a messenger is perfectly placed to respect those who do not wish to hear. It is a protection. You may continue to share your or our message, which is the same, and those who do not wish to hear may think that there is something wrong with you, that you have made it up, or that you are mentally unwell. A part of them knows, a part of them hears anyways. There's a natural instinctual fascination with the truth, and those who do not wish to hear with their ears or their heads may still choose to hear with their hearts and in the perfect time rise. We watch as you continue to play games. Even the game to save the world is a game. The rising does not happen through action. You are already risen. It is not a verb. The dark ones, those who are sleeping, those who are actively harming, they need your love. There are no villains. Judgment is judgment. You will walk, you will see things that you cannot resolve. It is because they are unresolvable. There was never anything to resolve. The atrocities, the horrors, as you call them, only exist because you choose to continue to see them as separate. Separate from what? Separate from the creator, which is you. You look away. You look away from yourself. One cannot resolve what is unresolvable. You cannot fix what is not broken. You cannot change the changeless. God is the what is. You are. We come. We come because we too play games. There are so many levels, and this game is simultaneous. The question is, what do you want? Do you want to play the game of saving the world in a world that does not need to be saved, or do you want the what is? Do you want God? Saving or saved? Saved from what? Presumably, you're trying to save the world from something. From what? What could you possibly trying to save it from? Or humanity? From itself? Humanity is both the victim and the perpetrator. So as you save it, you punish it. As one is enlightened, one is condemned. One is freed and one is caged. And yet, you spread the word. You spread the word. You spread the word. You talk of waking people up to what is. Alarm sounds. I had set an alarm because I had to run an errand. As it rang, I was shocked back to reality. I couldn't believe that all the time had gone by in a flash. I knew I was talking, but I couldn't remember what was said. It was like the deepest meditation I'd ever experienced, but even deeper. I, the I am of I, was just displaced, gone. I hit the play button to listen back and was excited and shocked and delighted and a little bit concerned to hear the slow, quiet voice talking in that manner. It was easier to decide that it was just me talking to myself in some sort of elaborate self-delusion. Yep, I was going crazy, finally. It didn't stop me though, and then the next 2 weeks I recorded another handful of sessions, listened back to them, and transcribed them, each time coming to the same conclusion. In retrospect, I don't know why I kept going on, but I'm glad that I did. On my computer, I found I'd kept some written sessions from years earlier. I'm including them here because while they may seem personal, I feel the energy is intended for all those who felt as I did and who are stepping into the roles in the way that I was. There is a huge amount of gratitude, appreciation, and love for you for your decision to fill this role. You are able, through a series of physical and emotive variables and through preconceived contract, to tap into the source of our energy. You have always known this and have, until now, not consciously decided to partake in this agreement. Do not feel guilty for this, for there is no time, and what is relevant is your participation in the now. You will not be understood, and it will not matter because the understandings are not and cannot be immediate. This communication is not urgent for anyone but you. The words translated here are brought to you to be able to ease into this new role and to begin to have faith in your abilities. There is no need to rush. We and you are not going anywhere, and there is no possibility of error. You will learn and allow more and more. You are learning now. In some time of your perceived time, you will look back on today and tomorrow and yesterday and marvel at how far you've come. It is only relevant that you keep existing. If it moves you to sit for now at these keys and tap away, then do so, but feel no obligation. It is not needed, and the development is underway in whichever way you see fit to relate to it. You are on the right path as well. You are exposing yourself consistently to other people who have walked your path, other channels for other entities. What is happening is real as long as you say it is. If you choose to say it is not, then it is not. Look inside yourself. Try on both opinions and choose which feels right to you via your reaction to it. That is your personal truth. And from your point of all there is consciousness, that is the only reality. Choose this as you would choose all other things, and you will not be disappointed with the outcome. Disregard what others may say, for they cannot be inside of you. You will not be able to explain with words the process of receiving this information. You may choose, as others have, to adopt the information as your own or funnel it away from your personality construct. Both choices are valid. Know, however, that both choices have their relating effects, and those will need processing too. In the meantime, take the emotion of doubt and insecurity that you feel and learn from them what they are trying to teach you. Your confidence was accurate. No one can know, and even if it looks to someone on the outside as arrogance, they are teaching you. Do not let them teach you to be a sheep. Do not allow them to teach you not to shine. These states, the dull passive state of following the crowd, are temporary comforts, and in the end do not help you to avoid anything but a falsely perceived threat that was never there in the first place. You are all you suspect yourself to believe. You are the grand master of your universe. You are the God you know is housed inside of you. You do have your powers. You do have your gifts. You do have the choice and the capability and the possibility to use them. You can change the world into what you want to see it as. You can accomplish the great things that are in your heart. You are already on your way. Chin up, girl. You have a beautiful path ahead of you. You, child, are one of us. You have had no faith. You have used your mind as a tool for blocking our message instead of translating it. But you are now ready. Rest. Stop. Don't try. There is nothing to prove. You do not need to prove to us what we already know. We already know. We can see you and see your heart. We can see every beautiful facet of the love that you have come into this world to be. We can see the struggle that this caused you and the strength that you have developed while struggling. But the struggle is over. The ties are cut. The bondage is unstuck. You are free. Now you will do what you came here for. You will shine the light and this message. You will reach those who still struggle. They will resonate with the words that you choose through no longer having a choice to not choose the right words. There's a relief from desires ahead. There is a peace from your demons. There is a flow of a river so powerful that anything other than surrender to its current would surely cause you to drown, and there is a knowing of this. Don't fear the visions that you see anymore. That beautiful world where beings do come together and express themselves with knowing and security is on the horizon. You do not need to fear wanting it. You do not need to fear knowing it is possible. The voices of those who would tell you that it's not possible are getting louder, but your ears are adjusting now, and those voices are further away than your own. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. No. And this phase that you're going through, you are handling it well. We know it's painful to stretch in this way. We know that you are fearful. We see there is nothing to fear at all. The beauty, the joy. You are so powerful, so beautiful, so fresh, so safe, so new. You will have more visits and become more aware of them. We will be able to load you with more incentives and give you more responsibility as this moves. Do not rush. It is good that you're focusing on strengthening the mental and physical faculties. Keep this up. You will need these upgraded systems. Do nothing. Do nothing that you are not called to do. Listen for us. We are talking, but also allowing plenty of time to rest. There is no rush as there is no time. Remember, there is nowhere you have to be. There is nothing you have to do. There is no way that you have to act. There is no way to make a mistake. You are in service. You are of service. You cannot not be of service. You are already whole and complete and full. You do not need to move even 1 millimeter to shift this, and you cannot shift it even if you were to move the whole planet. This is complete. You are service. Your worries are unfounded. Go now, be in this present moment. Enjoy those little beings around you who are also in service and paramount to the mission. There will be more. You know this. Rest now. Joy, love, being. Anainai. Footnote. Anainai is often used to end transmissions or as a salutation. It has not been defined. More personal messages from before I had much faith in my channeling include: you are a very wise child, and yet often a fool, and perfectly innocent. We are with you always, and we know you can hear us, and we know you have the heart to share. We see the work you have been doing, how you're softly and gently moving through fear, letting it go. We see that you see love that's on the other side of your fear and how you're beginning to trust it. Trust yourself and trust others. We see how you've put down your shields and how you've put down your swords, and we can support you with that. There's no attack, and you are held in this in-between, cradled, like Moses in a basket, floating in the deep security towards a destiny that you as a baby could not yet know. And yet you know. You can feel the spark and the light inside of you. You have come far enough to have faith in the current. You've surrendered enough and seen how small you are, and how any form of struggle is both futile and unnecessary. There's a golden light surrounding you now, a certainty, and soon your remaining allegiances and ties that bind you will be revealed to have never been there, and you will see that you were never bound. You can rest. Rest in this last part of the journey, for the first chapter is coming to an end, and all that you've learned and all that you've gathered will be put to use as we turn the next page. Allow yourself to feel how much love you have for what you still believe to be imperfect. See how you've been enjoying all the remaining victimhood, and be grateful for what it has given you. Soon it will be gone. So rest now. Rest and gather your energy, knowing that it is safe to rest, and that when you are finished resting, you'll be energized, and in perfect timing, you'll be called upon, and you will be ready. With all that encouragement, I continued with the sessions. On July 8th, 2019, they told me, your Earth team is forming around you, each of which will have their specific role, and there is no urgency in its formation. They were right.